The ACEs study guide that you see on the screen is a character analysis that my students have used for both prose essay and literary argument essays for their AP Literature and Composition exam. Now, this is a character analysis. I use it in teaching my students for their literary argument essay, but they've shown me that it can be used for their prose essay as well. The guide focuses on the role of the character motivation, the character actions, character traits, character relationships, character development, and dialogue, as well as the author's intention for the character. Now, how does this character analysis help in writing on the AP exam? When completed correctly, a character analysis for either prose fiction or literary argument essays meet the AP literature rubric. It does this by helping in developing the evidence and commentary of the literary argument and the prose fiction essay. It also provides basic sophistication information according to both rubrics. Using the ACE study guide or thank you map for a literary argument essay gets the reader to focus on the why of one specific character's actions, thoughts, and dialogue. By taking the information from the ACE study guide and inserting questions based off of who, what, when, where, why, and how, the answers to these questions will provide the specific evidence or details like what role did they play in the text, their motivation, what influences their decisions, their particular traits, what are their flaws, what relationships do they have, like how, as far as how do they view others and how do others view them. Even the character's dialogue of how do they speak, and the author's intention as far as does the character help convey a specific theme or idea. Your answers to these questions will tell why the character behaved a certain way. You do need to realize that the questions you see on the screen are not concrete. They're not permanent. Just like in my 6 W's of Prose videos, the questions change with the prompt and text. With each answer, you do have to explain why the author shared that information and determine its significance to the text. That is the goal of your literary argument, to explain the significance of specific details. Knowledge of your literary devices will help immensely with this. By looking at the breakdown of the rubric's evidence and commentary, the evidence should be the text examples. These will be the answers from your character analysis. There should be at least 3 in each body paragraph. Your knowledge on literary devices or elements will help you to understand what the writer is trying to convey. You use this knowledge to structure the explanation of the line of reason to support your response to your argument. Now, using your writing skills, you want to share a broader context of how the author's theme of the entire novel, and if possible, the line of reason, you want to combine those and show that there is a broader context behind just this one particular incident in the novel. Basically, you're seeing this one incident and you're looking at the theme of the novel and you're showing the relationship. Now, if you can apply that line of reasoning to an alternative situation, this will create the complexity or tension in your essay according to the rubric. The better you're able to demonstrate this in your essay, the closer you will be to writing with sophistication. I think another way of understanding the requirements of the literary argument essay is by comparing it to a crime. In criminal law, mens rea is questioning why the crime was committed, versus cui bono is motive. So your essay is to answer, why did the characters say, think, or act as they did according to the text? And here, text theme. And then, what was the character's state of mind or reason or purpose? That would be according to the motive. For the prose essay, when you apply literary devices or elements to the ACE character analysis guide, you are trying to explain the details of how the character's attributes prove the writing techniques of the author. The study guide that's on the screen actually has literary devices in it from the novel Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. Notice how the literary devices can float from square to square. For this example, conflict can refer to the character's actions, the character's trait, the character's development, and the character's relationship. No one device or element is going to be static or concrete or be permanently in one square when it comes to the character analysis. You can also see how conflict can appear in multiple areas of the square within one book. This is because the guide is merely providing you with a visual map of details from the text to help support your prose argument. For the prose essay, the details from the text are there to prove how there is conflict due to the character's actions, relationships, and development. You can also see this when we look at irony, when we see setting, and when we see characterization. Within one book, you can have various literary devices that, may exist in most of the squares, but when you're writing your prose essay, you're just going to pick one particular device and find 3 pieces of textual evidence that prove the existence of that device in that particular novel. Or, for your essay in that particular passage. When we take this information and apply it to the evidence and commentary, the evidence should be the literary devices or elements. There should be 2 to 3. With each literary device, each device should be in its own separate paragraph. Within each paragraph, there should be 3 examples. This is because the presence of the devices or elements are actually cluing the reader to the fact that the writer is trying to convey a message. The textual evidence is proving or demonstrating the existence of the device. There should be at least 3 pieces of textual evidence for each device. So that means that for each individual paragraph that you have for your literary devices, there needs to be at least 3 examples that prove the existence of that device. Now, structuring the explanation for the use of the device is your line of reasoning. The writer's skill is going to be able to show the relationship of the specific literary device or element according to the broader context of the whole passage. Basically, on your exam, you'll be given a passage, of course. That passage has an overall theme or an idea. So based on your literary devices that you decide to use in your argument, you want to show how the text information, the literary device, relates to the theme of that specific passage. By doing that, you're showing a broader context to your writing skill. An example of this would be simply thinking of point of view. Why did the author choose to write from this particular character's point of view versus another character that's in that passage? How you structure your argument and your skill to convey all of this information is going to tell how close you are to actually receiving that sophistication point. Remember, you need a 3 to pass. You can get a 4, you can get a 5. If you're striving for that 6, you must be able to show that broader context or the alternative situation, like with the point of view. How would this other character have changed the meaning behind that literary device? Another way of understanding requirements of the literary argument essay is by comparing it to a crime. In criminal law, modus operandi is questioning how the crime is committed. The prose essay is how did the author create or write the text for comprehension using your knowledge of literary devices or elements. If you can remember that particular detail, then you should be able to make sure your line of reasoning for prose essay is not the same as your line of reasoning for literary argument.